If you're someone who lives and breathes cinema, who cherishes stories told on the big screen, then do subscribe and support us for discussions on true cinema. I have a small question to all of you. Which one of your favorite film needs a re-release in theaters? Please comment below and let us know. Now, let's begin. It was a quiet evening last September when my friend called and said, "Let's go catch a movie in theater tonight." I casually asked, "Which one?" He said, "Tumbad." I froze for a second. "Tumbad?" He said, "Yeah, it got re released." I didn't wait to process it. I was already on my way to watch, once again, one of the most visually haunting and narratively rich films Indian cinema has ever produced. That night rekindled something in me. Since then, I have been religiously checking Book My Show, scouting for re releases. And to my surprise, there's been a wave. From timeless love stories like Sanam Teri Kasam and Veer Zara to cult classics like DDLJ, Rockstar, Three Idiots, Ye Jawani Hai Diwani. From the iconic Jab We Met, Kal Ho Na Ho, Rehna Hai Tere Dil Mein, to Kannada cinema's pride, Appu, Puneet Rajkumar sir's unforgettable debut. These films are finding new life on the big screen, and the love they are receiving now feels even stronger than during their original run. In today's video, we will explore this beautiful phenomenon. Why are classic films returning to theaters? What's drawing audiences back to cinema halls? And why do these stories still resonate, perhaps more deeply today? A cinematic revival. In the age of streaming and instant content, there is something unexpected happening, something deeply nostalgic and surprisingly powerful. Old movies are making their way back to theaters, and not just as one off events, but as full fledged re releases, often drawing crowds as big as, if not bigger than, some new films. But why is this happening? What is making people leave the comfort of their homes and flock back to theaters for movies that are decades old? A glimpse at the beginning, how it all started. The trend of re releasing older movies in theaters isn't entirely new, but the scale and enthusiasm surrounding it today feels unprecedented. While repertory screenings have always existed in art house circuits, think of how Lagan, a classic, would occasionally be shown in 70 at select theaters. What we are witnessing now is mainstream. The shift began gaining momentum around the mid 2010. But it was the pandemic that truly transformed it into a movement. When theaters reopened after COVID 19 lockdowns, new releases were delayed, and exhibitors were looking for content. What better than beloved classics to fill that gap? In India, movies like Dilwale Dulhania Le Jayenge, which had already had a record run at Maratha Mandir in Mumbai, found new life across screens nationwide. In the West, films like The Lord of Rings trilogy and Avatar were re-released with upgraded visuals and sound to entice a new generation, and they worked. But the success wasn't just about the nostalgia. It was about something deeper. The emotional power of nostalgia. Cinema has always been an emotional medium. When we watch a film, we often remember where we were in life when we first saw it. Revisiting an old favorite isn't just about rewatching a story, it's about reliving a memory, a feeling, and a moment. For many, watching Titanic from 1997 in theaters again was about more than just a Jack and Rose. It was about revisiting adolescence, about remembering the cultural phenomenon it was. When Sholay was re released in 3D in 2014, it wasn't just the technology that brought audiences in, but also it was the characters, the dialogues, and the collective memories. This emotional pull is amplified when films are shown on the big screen, the way they were meant to be experienced. The theatrical experience that cannot be replicated. While OTT platforms have brought cinema into our bedrooms, nothing replaces the communal experience of watching a film in a dark theater with strangers reacting at the same time. This is especially true for iconic scenes or mass moments. Take, for instance, the recent re release of Rockstar on its 13th anniversary, or the Laila Majnu, or the Sanam Teri Kasam in India. These films initially met with mixed reviews and had gained a cult following. Their music, performances, and emotional core resonate even more now. The theatre erupted during songs like Nadan Parinde, Laila, Sanam Teri Kasam title song, not unlike how audiences screamed during Thanos' snap or cap lifting in Avengers Endgame. These are cinematic moments designed for the big screens. The Gen Z factor, a new generation discovering classics. A significant reason behind the success of re releases is the younger generation. Gen Z and late millennials who missed these films in theaters during their original run. These viewers may have seen The Matrix or Kuch Kuch Hota Hai on TV or YouTube, but never in a cinema. When given the chance, they show up, often dressed up, quoting lines, singing along. The 4K remaster of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone saw fans of all ages attending midnight screenings. Similarly, DDLJ continues to be a staple in youth centric showing even 30 years later. When Lagan returned to screens in 2021 for its 20th anniversary, it found an entirely new audience who had only heard of its legacy. Curation, celebration, and anniversary culture. Studios and theaters are now curating special experiences around re releases. They are not just reshowing old films, they are turning them into events, special merchandise, limited edition posters, filmmaker Q&A, or remastered visuals and audio tracks that create a sense of occasion. This is exactly what happened when Pulp Fiction and The Dark Knight were re-released in IMAX. The 70 film screening of Christopher Nolan's Interstellar turned into a global celebration. I personally watched Interstellar with my friends and was literally feeling that I was in space. Likewise, Gajini and Vikram Veda had special fan first screenings, almost like concerts. And let's not forget how Kamal Hassan's Hey Ram was re released in 2025 on its 25th anniversary recently, a film that was ahead of its time, misunderstood by many in 2000. Now seen in a completely different light, with audiences uploading its layered writing, political depth, and visual mastery. Aesthetic revival. Films that aged like fine wine. Some films don't get the appreciation they deserve at the time of release. Years later, cultural context, changes in society, or even just the evolution of audience taste can bring a film back into favor. Take Blade Runner from 1982, a box office disappointment in its time. It is now regarded as one of the most influential sci fi films ever made. Every time it returns to theaters, it brings with fresh wave of admiration. In India, Mani Ratnam's Dil Se and Ram Gopal Varma's Satya were appreciated in urban circles back then. But today, they are revered across generations. Sometimes films were just too ahead of their time. Re releases give them a second life, often in better conditions. The sound is remixed in Dolby Atmos, the visuals are color corrected, and the audience is more prepared to embrace the film's ambition. The rise of fan culture and social media campaigns. A massive factor in the resurgence of re releases is the role of fandom and the internet. Social media movements, especially on Twitter, Reddit, and Instagram, are breathing new life into older films. Fans campaign for anniversary re releases, create tribute videos, and even organize mass bookings. In 2023, Bahubali The Beginning was re released across India, ahead of Prabhas Salar as a strategic move, but also at the behest of fans. Similarly, fans of Rangasthalam and Mersal have organized theatrical returns on actors' birthdays. When James Cameron re released Avatar in 4K HDR before Avatar The Way of Water, it not only reminded audiences of Pandora, but boosted internet in the sequel. That re releases made over $70 million worldwide, providing that classics, when treated well, can still be box office gold. Global examples of the revival. Some of the biggest names in world cinema have actively encouraged this trend. Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 2 has had shocking crowd to IMAX screens for experiencing it on big screens. Martin Scorsese had spoken frequently about the importance of preserving and projecting older films. In Japan, Studio Ghibli films like Spirited Away and My Neighbor Totoro continues to have re-releases every few years, keeping Hayao Miyazaki's legacy alive on the big screen. In South Korea, Bong Joon-ho's earlier works like Memories of Murder were re-released post his Oscar win for Parasite, giving newer fans a chance to discover his roots. Even the Star Wars original trilogy saw several re-releases, including the controversial special editions. Love it or hate it, George Lucas knew the value of theatrical nostalgia. The business of emotion, economics meets art. There is also a very practical reason why this is happening. Re releases are profitable, the marketing costs are lower, the prints already exist or are easier to remaster with current digital workflows, and the built in fan base ensures a good turnout. For theaters, it's a safe bet. For studios, it's a way to revive IP and build legacy. For audiences, it's priceless. Just a re release or a cinematic time machine? Re releases of old movies are more than just reruns, they are cultural events, emotional journeys, and community experiences. They represent the undying power of cinema to transcend time. As filmmakers continue to innovate and new stories are told, it's equally important to celebrate the classics because they remind us where we come from, what we felt, and why cinema matters. Whether it's a couple holding hands again watching Titanic, a group of fans chanting dialogue from Basha, or a teenager discovering Fight Club for the first time, these moments are what make the movies magical. In a world moving fast, old films slow us down just enough to feel again. And that is the real blockbuster. If you like this video of ours, please like and subscribe and motivate us to bring such great content on board. Thank you.